Okay, well, outside of you, there's been other people that came forward. A guy named Lord Sharif said that he personally witnessed inappropriate behavior between Bambaataa and young teenage boys. He also said that other members of the Universal Zulu Nation were fully aware of this. And then there was a guy named B Stinger who came forward and talked about it. And I remember at the time that this was all happening, Bambaata's initial response was B Stinger the first one to really talk about this, or was it
I was the first one. I came out on Facebook. After I came out on Facebook, Muhammad Stanley Bell reached out to me. He's pretty much control of the Zulu Nation security. He has the Zulu Warriors security company, which I used to be a part of. He reached out to me. They just started the company, and he was like, "This is looking bad. It's hurting the company." So after a few hours of that going viral, I took the video down. But you know how the internet goes. Somebody's always going to grab it. Somebody grabbed the video, and 6 months later, I wakes up. I get a phone call from a brother, very strong brother. He was like, "Yo, they talking about killing you." I said, "What is you talking about?" He said, "Look at the newspaper." I looks at the newspaper. It's bee stinger all over the newspaper.
Yeah, and I remember at that time, like I said, I was doing interviews with Lord Jamar, and Bambaata's response was, "I don't know who this bee stinger guy is. I've never met him before. I don't know who he is." And Jamar was like, well, that's not true, because I've, personally seen B Stinger and Afrika Bambaataa together many times. He was in the studio together, et cetera, et cetera. So from Jamar's point of view, he was like, okay, I'm not believing Bambaata's stories at this point. And, I believe the victims. And at this point, how many people have come forward and said that they've been molested by Bambaataa? I mean, besides you and B Stinger?
About 7 of them.
Okay.
He's actually currently running from the courts right now. There's a John Doe who because everybody think that I'm the John Doe. I'm not the John Doe. There's a John Doe that's actually coming out on him right now, and Bam hasn't been showing up in court. He's missed every court date.
Is this criminal or is this civil?
I believe both.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but it's definitely civil.
I mean, honestly, I haven't, ever since these things have come out, I've never seen Bambaataa really just period. I mean, he made a couple of statements in the beginning denying it, and then that was it. I haven't seen any interviews. I haven't seen him do shows. I haven't seen him on tour, nothing.
Well, I mean, you notice that when he was speaking, he would avoid my name. He wouldn't even mention me. See, with Ron Savage, right? Ron Savage.
Anyway, just to note, Ron Savage is B Stinger.
Yes, B Stinger. Ron Savage was a money grab. Even though I believe everything that Ron Savage said, he used it as an opportunity to pull a Cassie. And he's not going to admit that, because now, if there's videos up there, I wish I could have sent it to you, where Ron Savage actually, he recanted his story and said now it's a misunderstanding. Bam didn't know how old he was. So after marching on Brooklyn Bridge and going to Albany and being a part of the Child Victims Act, after all of that, he recants his story. Now, a lot of people ask, when I initially came out on Bam, I said that I'm never going to court. But after a while, the people was like, you got to take him to court. So what happened was Layla Wills helped me to get an attorney. Not anybody else. Layla Wills helped me to get an attorney. Turns around that the attorney that I had was the same attorney that Ron Savage had. So when Ron started going back on his statements, they must have just looked at the whole situation and said, I'm not even wasting my time. And the lawyer told me, he was like, we can't find Afrika Bambaataa. And if we go to court and we can't find him, the case is not going to go anywhere, because we can't get in contact with him to subpoena him. And it was like another lawyer is going to take this case, but they're not going to be able to get anywhere. That's what the lawyer told me. So after they, they shut the case down, I was like, okay, you know what? It ain't meant to be, because the reality of it is, only thing I wanted for him to do was to admit to what he did, which in all actuality, he did admit to what he did to me in front of a room of people.